Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another ShareWise webinar. Very, very lucky today. We've got David here with us, who's going to go through a few things, a little bit more of an interactive type of webinar, bit of a Q&A, just a conversation. Obviously, you guys there watching, more than welcome to put in any questions, any conversational starters that you want us to talk about. But we've obviously David, he's the CEO and Executive Director with Riversgold, RGL. And he's got some really, really interesting points he wants to talk about today, and I'm looking forward to it. My name's Henry McCaskill, one of the senior advisors here at ShareWise. We're a share advisory firm in Sydney. And David, you just introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit, briefly about Riversgold, and we'll get right into it. But thanks for coming out today and putting a bit of time into it.
Yeah, no, that's good, Harry. Thanks for this opportunity. Look, I'm actually sort of the for the longer words, I'm the executive chairman and the CEO at the moment. Riversgold has been through a big management restructuring. CEO left at the beginning of the year, so I've taken both jobs. We've restructured the company. I came into Riversgold when some of the big institutional brokers in Perth about a couple of years ago after COVID said, "Look, we're a bit bored, Dave. Can you come in and help run Riversgold? We'll put a lithium project into it, which is Tambourah up in the Pilbara." And the stock went for a good run. Lithium was hot. The original shareholders all sold out and made a bucket load of money. So, but things settled down after a while. Management changes, and we said, okay, let's go and rebuild Riversgold. We've got some great assets, shrink the costs. I live in London, so I've got a great little management team with me here in Perth that I've worked with for a long time. And I sort of come to Australia 5 or 6 times a year as need be, to go and interact with shareholders and raise funds and get things moving from time to time. So I'm in Perth at the moment. I'm heading back to London this evening and Europe. I've got a young kid over there that wants to see Dad for the school holidays, so I'll be there. But look, Riversgold's a really interesting story, and it's time to talk about it. We've been really quiet for a while because end of tax year selling in Australia this year has been brutal.
Yep.
If you said anything that was interesting, you just got flogged down with more volume, and we just thought, well, let's just knuckle down, get on with it, raise some money, clean up the balance sheet, clean up the asset base, and then when we're ready, we'll get ready to get on the squawk box, and the squawk box starts now.
Excellent.
If we look back at the last couple of months, we had a huge tenement portfolio in Western Australia and indeed South Australia, which was costing the company a lot of burn rate money. I mean, our expenditure to keep the tenement packages alive was well over $2 million a year.
Wow.
So we sat down and we re-looked at where we want to hold our tenements. And we said, okay, we can keep our main 4 projects, which is frankly all people care about and we care about, by shrinking the tenement portfolio to circa 15 tenements. There's all the detail numbers are in the presentation, which went up on the company's announcement platform today. And we've now shrunk our annual holding costs for rates, rents, exploration expenditure, all that sort of stuff to less than $250,000. And we still hold our Tambourah project, which is now really coming up trumps for high-grade copper gold. Our Northern Zone project, which is a stonkingly huge porphyry gold system with an exploration target of sort of between 2.5 and 4.8 million ounces, which we're getting some excellent drilling success on at the moment.
Yeah.
Our Wodgina East tenement, which immediately abuts the mineral resources at Albemarle tenement for their Wodgina mine, which has excellent lithium potential and CID iron ore potential. And we've also got our exposure up near Azure, where we've got a whole lot of tenements, quite large tenement package just to the south of Azure and Raiden. So we've managed to maintain really good integrity on the assets that we want and drop our operating costs significantly. So the company's well funded and we're ready to rock and roll. And it's time to get everybody talking about Riversgold like they used to.
Excellent. I mean, there's a lot happening as well. My first question, I'm probably sure a lot of people are also wondering is, China, Australia is very, very reliant on China in terms of our exports, iron ore prices, etc., and a lot of commodity prices. How do you see, their outlook, their future forecasts impacting, commodity prices, and if there is a long-term sort of, down, I guess.
Look, I mean, the Chinese have certainly completely collapsed the nickel market with what they've done in Indonesia. So
Yep.
we don't want to play nickel. Copper is hot right now, and copper is hot principally because you're seeing an economic revival globally. Copper is one of the bellwether metals for economic recovery.
Yep.
Where, and my institutional mates in New York have been calling copper at $10,000 for many a year, and it never quite got there. It's a bit like the gold bugs going, "Don't worry, gold's going to get over 2,000," and it never did. But you're now seeing copper sort of punching around that $10,000 mark, and that's really led by supply and demand curves.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's a lot of infrastructure to be built, and you've got all the EVs and energy storage and all those sorts of things. But copper is a great bellwether for economic recovery.
Yeah.
And then you've got gold. Gold has just completely transformed itself. I mean, one of my friends is the ex-CEO of the World Gold Council, and Aaron was telling me the other week. He said, "Look, this gold price is going to continue to run. There's been a big mindset shift in the central banks, particularly China and others, but China leading the way, where the central banks globally are now starting to acquire gold to back their currencies."
Correct.
That's where you're really starting to see gold starting to perform. So we sort of sat there and looked at the portfolio and said, okay, what's Riversgold that's sexy that people might like? And we've got Northern Zone, which is huge porphyry. I mean, our exploration target there's 250 million tonnes.
Yeah.
It's anything from 100 to 200 to 300 metre wide porphyry system. We've only just started drilling it, and every drill campaign we have, it looks like the model's holding together. We put a news release out the other day that says we're looking at starting to re-drill at Northern Zone around about the middle of August. I think we're going to try and get there next week. The drilling companies are all struggling a bit. Our geologists are all looking at going, okay, can we get going next week? We're ready to go drill. We've just got back another set of results from Northern Zone Gold Project.
Yep.
And it looks like the porphyry now is somewhere between 2 and 3 times bigger than we originally thought.
Right.
Which means that how many ton potential do we have at Northern Zone? It's vast, and it's shallow, and it looks like we've got a supergene cap. And supergenes are great high-grade gold to get started with. And the other thing I like about Northern Zone is its proximity to the world. It's 25 kilometres from the centre of Kalgoorlie. Now, when you're talking to an old Kalgoorlie School of Mines guy here, I know the area really well. I mean, this is 2 kilometres away from John Jones's Hampton Downs station. In the old days when I was working for the mines department, we used to drive along in the Kingswood, which were great rally cars because they were government cars, and it was a dirt road from Kalgoorlie to Hampton Station. It's now a 2-lane bitumen highway.
Yes.
So Kalgoorlie is great for logistics, for people, for drilling. And the other reason we wanted to really crack on with Northern Zone as a gold project is that when you look at the gold price from 2000 to now in Aussie dollar terms, it's principally a straight line.
Yes.
And right now, gold price in Aussie dollar terms is $3,650. And provided the central bank, mantra continues, I think you're going to see gold price punching through 4,000 Aussie dollars reasonably quicker than people think.
I agree.
And at that scenario, 0.5, 0.6 gram, good metallurgy, close to surface, close to infrastructure projects really work. I mean, we want to compare Northern Zone to a lot like Saturn Metals Apollo Hills project. They've got 105 million tonnes of pretty much the same sort of rock. It goes 0.54 grams. It's a heap leach project. And, they're spending oodles of money now getting Apollo Hills ready for production. And if you look at the really big gold mines in Australia, Cadia, Telfer, Boddington, they're all sub 0.6 grams, 0.7 grams gold equivalent. So, and they're the really biggies. They're the 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 ounce a year projects. Yep. So what we like about Northern Zone is it's got scale. The other thing we like about it is I can explore there, except for when it's peeing down rain or hail. I can explore there 12 months of the year. You try and explore in the Pilbara come November to March. A, you get rained out. B, it's stinking hot. C, the drillers charge you a lot because you have all the heat stress and everything on the machines. I like Kalgoorlie Northern Zone because we can explore it and make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
12 months of the year. And the other thing is we're not inventing the concept. You know, whatever Saturn Metals do up at their Apollo project, we just follow what they do. We'll use the same consultants. We use the same metallurgists. Yeah. They got 105 million tonnes. I'd like to think we've got 2 to 3 times their size. Right. And then looking at putting together a 120,000 ounce a year gold project. Yeah. There's no reason why Northern Zone probably couldn't turn out the same if we keep going with the model and it holds together.
Right, right. Because there is
one project. Number 2 project, which sort of got everyone sort of the tongues wagging the other day, was Tambourah. Tambourah's been a hot and cold with respect to lithium. You know, there is lithium there. It's mainly lepidolite, and we started finding the spodumene towards the end of the exploration program before lithium really fell off the cliff a bit. But as part of doing how much more lithium potential do we have on this Tambourah block, we did a very big multi-element analysis and found a very substantial copper-gold corridor running right up through the guts of the tenement. It's quite a big tenement package. And last week we announced some really spectacular stonking copper-gold stuff. I mean, you know, the one I like to think about is, you know, I mean, if you look at it, you'd throw it at a crocodile. I mean, you wouldn't put it in a plant. I mean, that went 3.2 ounces to the ton of gold and 4% copper. And we're now finding that there is quite a significant VMS potential in the middle of Tambourah that nobody knew was there.
Wow.
So we've got 2 live gold projects, one of which is copper gold. And right now, the things that seem to be getting shareholders' interests in the marketplace on the junior end is give me some chip samples of copper, you know, and we've got copper and gold, and it's pretty extraordinary. Yeah. So we've got people on the ground there at the moment. So I imagine we'll have quite a bit of news coming out of Tambourah in the coming weeks, and I'm hopeful that we'll have people back on the ground drilling at Northern Zone.
Yeah,
we've got a lot going on.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot. That sounds like, obviously, because there is a lot of similarities between your Northern Zone project and the Saturn Metals Apollo Hill project.
A lot, yeah.
You know, in terms of size, like you mentioned, you believe the Northern Zone project's a little bit bigger. But I guess
we've got to drill it up. I mean, when you start this whole thing, you know, Harry, the geologists come up with an exploration target, and there's your waste that you can report that with all the K-bits and everything on the ASX rules, right?
Yep.
So right now, our exploration target is 2 to 2.5 times the size, right, potentially of Apollo Hills.
And that's not a guarantee, of course.
It's no guarantee, correct. There's a lot of K-bits around until you keep drilling it. But every time we go and put in some diamond holes or some RC holes or air core reverse circulation holes, you know, the model is still holding together. And the other thing that really surprised us when we did the last announcement in the last few days is the porphyry footprint now appears to be at least double what we originally thought.
Right.
And we don't know where the central part of the gold mineralization is. We've only just started touching it. You know, the original plan was 200 to 250 million tonnes was our exploration target. We could well be talking, you know, once we go and stick a couple of holes in this thing. And there's no lack of holes in the original, you know, exploration target model either. I mean, there's quite a few diamond holes down to 450 vertical meters.
Yeah.
There's big white intercepts, you know, up to 200 meters sort of type gold mineralized systems.
Yeah.
So we stick a couple of holes in the expanded area, and we could, you could dream that this could be really big and very close to Kalgoorlie.
Yeah, excellent. Because that brings me to this question. We've had a question come in. I know it's a bit of a it's a bit of a golden ball question, but someone has mentioned, "Hi, David. Do you see the RGL? Do you see RGL becoming a $200 million market cap company within a few months?"
Not within a few months. I mean, look, we had a good run way back on lithium, and we've still got our lithium play there. And I'm a firm believer in lithium. I mean, I was one of the key drivers of Bacanora, which got taken out by Ganfeng in Mexico, and I helped Keith Coughlin to a very large degree with the European Metals Holdings at Cinevex. So I understand the lithium market really well. I mean, I even was the person that signed the agreement with Elon Musk when he did his first offtake for
do you see lithium prices, obviously the supply and demand curve, do you see
2025, 26, you're going to have global massive shortages, and I think you'll be talking lithium back up to where it was before in the highs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was such a hyped up commodity, and it caught up to itself, come back to potential equilibrium.
There's a big dichotomy shift in the world. I mean, the Western world goes, range envy. I don't know if I want electric cars, I want hybrid. America goes, gas guzzlers, whatever. But you look at China, which is really, really, really leading the world, in India and Asia. China's now producing and selling more electric cars than any other car combined. And they have been doing that since April, right?
Right. And
they're bellwethers for how the country can actually, gear up to be the most economic in the world.
Right.
So, and they've got a very interesting term now. They call it NEVs. I go, what's NEV? I read it the other week. It's called...
I read that the other week.
New energy vehicles.
Correct.
And that covers a whole range of things. We all get bent up on, is it a hybrid? Is it an EV? New energy vehicles covers a whole range of things. And the Chinese are really leading the way on that. I mean, there's even Chinese cars being sold in Australia now, I see, on the EV front. They're pretty actually damn good. So I see lithium moving back up, 25, 26. So we want to have a very good lithium exposure. But just going to your question, do I see Riversgold being potentially worth 200 million in the coming months? I think that's a bit of a stretch. I'd certainly like to see. If you said, Dave, where do you want to see the value of Riversgold in the coming year or two? That's a number I would tell my mates. Yeah. And the key thing about public markets is you raise funds to develop your assets, and if the assets don't cut it, you buy assets that do.
Correct.
Right, and that's what's the difference between a smart company and a company that just dies on the vine. And if you've got access to capital for growth, we'll buy a project that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to explore the hell out of these things and go, oh, that was fun. Geez, we didn't find much.
Yeah, may as well do an acquisition.
Correct. Good management can buy good deals.
Yeah, correct. It's there's less risk involved, potential same amount of upside as well if it's the right deal.
Yeah, I mean, look, the disappointing thing in the last couple of years was we had to dilute to get to where we were. I mean, when I first started, we didn't have a 0.1 shares, but the retail loves penny dreadful sometimes. I mentioned to the guys, should we roll it back 1 for 2? They go, no, don't do that. We like penny stocks, but I've done it before plenty of times. I mean, I remember when I came in at Artemis, it was 0.1. I mean, it went to huge numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow burn for sure. Obviously, gold prices are going through the roof, and it's probably frustrating that your share price isn't exactly reflecting that.
Look, we haven't said anything either, Harry. We've been fairly quiet. We haven't been
exactly.
in the box. Our website hasn't been up to date. We haven't had a corporate presentation for probably 2 to 3 years. Right. So we're bringing things up to date. We're now ready to start engaging with shareholders. The PowerPoint presentation is up now. It's been released. We're going to bring our website up to date. We're going to engage with shareholders. We're now drilling where we've got copper gold. We're going to flood you with some really interesting copper gold stuff, and drill. I mean, we want to come up with a really robust JORC compliant gold resource at Northern Zone, 22 kilometres away from Kalgoorlie, and that really is a big focus for us. Saturn Metals has got a market cap, and we're down here. So if every hole we drill gets us closer to Saturn Metals from a project perspective, that's where we want to go.
Perfect. That was because obviously copper gold. Which one would you? I mean, out of all your projects, out of everything going on behind the scenes, like you said, you haven't been really putting much out there. What is, to those shareholders that want to know, what is your key asset? What's the
one that could actually get us into revenue quicker is actually Wodgina, the iron ore.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've only just got that approved. It sits right on the boundary with mineral resources. We know we've got lithium there.
Yep.
Would I go and stick some holes up there? Might well do. It's pretty close. It's pretty close to their open pit.
Right.
But from a how quickly can we get going perspective, there's a very real opportunity with those 3 mesas that we have either side of the highway at Wodgina to look at moving some iron ore out through Port Hedland. Yeah.
Is there any other areas in WA or any other areas in Australia that you're trying to find contracts for?
No. Look, we've got enough. We got a big gold project at Northern Zone. We got some SECs with respect to some stonking copper gold stuff at Tambourah, and we don't even know the potential of that.
Yep.
We think it's a big BMS system. Time will tell, but there's lots of news and lots of chip samples, and it's had some historic drilling from 1970s where they actually drilled, big intercepts of copper, but they never even took any assays for gold. I mean, they were drilling in 1971 for copper. Right. And then we got Wodgina iron ore. I mean, and we've got a big package of land south of Azure, and we're really waiting to see what Raiden do when they start drilling up there, because we're just south of Raiden.
Yeah.
Before we sort of go, okay, what do we do with the lithium front? So we've got enough on our plate that we in our mind think we can seriously value add.
Yeah, you want to focus on what you got first, and then knuckle down.
Okay, so 2 of the 4 I think can be company makers.
No, perfect. I mean,
right.
I think it's the focus on what you got before you try and expand too much, right?
Correct. And look, if we can find a couple of million tons, 20 kilometres from Kalgoorlie, someone's going to want it.
Yeah, you're laughing.
They're just going to buy it, put it on the balance sheet, frankly.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And obviously, like you said, you're in London a lot of the time of the year. How many do we have here in Australia holding the fort down?
It's a small team. Look, we've got a board. I've worked with Ed Mead for a long time. It's a geologist. He's my eyes and ears here. We've got a great company secretary, Simon Andrews, the previous chairman. He's a very supportive NED. And we've got one full-time employee who's a geologist who manages all of our GIS stuff. And he's pretty excited about where we're going as well. That's it. Yep. And everybody else is turn on, turn off contractors. Yep. And I think that's the way life is going. The other interesting thing, Harry, is I can do work on these projects. There's a lot of bad blood floating around Western Australia right now with Aboriginal heritage.
Oh, why is that?
And it's a dirty word and no one wants to speak about it.
Why?
Because the Aboriginal surveys on the ground are becoming ludicrously expensive.
So
it's affecting exploration. I think, I remember the days here where geologists and drillers were driving taxis. I think you're seeing a lot of geologists and a lot of drillers now starting to go, I'm getting a bit worried about where my next contract's coming from. And that's because...
Is that on the basis that jobs aren't being approved?
Correct. Or no one's prepared to spend the money. There's stupidly ludicrous amounts of money that are quoted to do this stuff these days.
Right.
So what I like about the Riversgold package is I can work on them.
Right.
I'm involved with a number of other public companies that it's taken a long time to get through the survey.
That was my next question. Obviously, you've got a lot of connections. You've been in the industry for a long, long time. I assume you're leveraging them for the benefit of Riversgold.
Oh no, I mean the thing that really tickles my fancy is my Bitcoin mining company. You know, a mining engineer from Kalgoorlie mining Bitcoin in America. That's the one that really tickles my boat.
So you're a fan of crypto?
A big time. So yeah, no, we got Bitcoin miners in where Canada, Iowa, Indiana. Just launched a whole cluster in Nebraska. Soon we're going to Texas.
Yeah.
To me, mining Bitcoin is just like mining a gold mine. You've got inputs, power costs, people, machines, and you produce a product that someone wants to buy off you. You know, Bitcoin is computers, electricity, people, data centers, infrastructure, and you produce a Bitcoin and the world buys it off you. It's the same thing. It's just a widget.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're pretty heavy into crypto here, but you know, there's some people who aren't.
But yeah, Rincon, it took, I mean, I'm the chairman of Rincon. Rincon's doing all that drilling at Arunta at the moment, you know, which people are sort of, you know, focusing on a bit at the moment. But yeah, it took Gary, who's the managing director, a good year and a half to navigate the whole approval process.
Right.
And at vast expense.
Yep.
With the heritage surveys and the permits to even get on the ground at Arunta.
Yeah. Are you looking at getting any institutional investors in Riversgold and
look, institutional investors come when your market cap gets bigger. Yeah. In the old days, there were micro cap fund managers that could play micro caps. Now, if you go to, I mean, I remember in the old days, you know, a micro cap in New York was 50 million. Then it was 100 million. Yeah, now it's 500 million. Now in New York, to these fund managers, you're a micro cap if you're a billion market cap.
Yeah, wow.
$500 million market cap, you're a nano cap. So
it's a different ballgame.
At what point does your market cap, and it's not that they don't want to invest in the juniors, it's just that they're not allowed to.
Yeah, it's a pure
their mandates say I will only invest in mega caps or banks or market cap over 500 million or the ASX 200. You know?
Yeah.
You've got to use retail to elevate your market cap and your excitement. And at the other end of the spectrum is fund managers will generally only buy stocks that have liquidity because fund managers usually get redemptions. So, yeah, the market's not going up all the time. And when it goes down, they want the ability to liquidate. Correct. So you need to pass a number of hurdles. And the principal hurdle is, are you big enough? And the other hurdle is, you know, do you have enough liquidity that I can get in and get out without crucifying the market and my portfolio? Yeah. So, you know, you need to use retail to get yourself to the exciting level where people go, well, I'll have a few.
Yeah.
You know, Rincon's got a market cap of 30 million. I think we've got one institution in it.
Right. Okay. I guess, yeah, again, that's a slow build. You know, 7 mil market cap, that's probably something that they're going to have to stay clear of. But
I like 7 mil market caps because it's usually one way it's going to go. Yeah. You know, especially if we've got money in the bank. Yeah, and the other thing is, you know, we're just closing. We had to do a tranche 1, tranche 2 financing. We announced it in May. Tranche 2 closes this week. It's a bit like when you do a financing and you go, oh, we've got to look after the retail. Let's go do a share purchase plan. That completely screws your liquidity and excitement with respect to volatile share prices, which is what people want to punt until that process is over. So tranche 2 should close today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? Then the financing is done.
Yeah.
Right? But between the announcement and closing a tranche 1, tranche 2 financing, you're in stalemate territory. So the nice thing is tranche 2 should close today or tomorrow. Well, today or Monday. I mean, I could find out from the company secretary. She was hoping to do it today. But, you know, then we can get on with things. And that's when things get a bit exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent.
And we want to give our shareholders lots of news. We want to show that we can spend money in the ground and get results. And we've got 2 projects, we can give them that. And right now, you know, punters want to see, give me some great gold stuff, even though gold's a little bit on the, you know, it's not that exciting, even though it should be. But right now, copper gold is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's there's a lot of promising things in the pipeline, which is exciting.
Yeah, and the other thing I haven't spoken about, and I'll do 30 seconds on it.
Yep.
We've got a big chunk of land up near Onslow surrounding Cauldron Energy on the uranium front.
Right. Now, I think uranium is extremely bullish. I'm at the firm, something we've been buying up. We'll have taken a bit of profits on, but the run up it had late last year, early this year, exceptional. So obviously that's something you're looking at.
Well, yeah, and look what Dunk's done with Bose Energy. I mean, phenomenal work for there, you know. But you're going to, now that Greenpeace likes uranium, and now that these small micro nuclear reactors are very interesting, and people need it for base load and all that sort of stuff, you're going to see, in my mind, a quantum shift in the Australian government and the West Australian government's view with respect to uranium.
I agree.
Our job will be to find it. The government's job will be to legislate what they want to do with it.
Correct.
At some point, we'll move in on the uranium exploration side. Cauldron's doing a good job up there at the moment. Odessa, which I'm also on the board of, has a big uranium play in the Gascoyne, with some phenomenal grades and some phenomenal targets. And we'll come on that from Odessa later. Yeah. But it's all in the public domain. But Riversgold's got a big chunk of land up near Onslow, just north of Cauldron, and Paladin stuff that we find very attractive for uranium. Excellent,
because Paladin, there's a lot of good uranium miners out there, and if you could jump on the boat, I think you're not on the wrong boat, that's for sure. Now, just to finish it off, we've got one more question that's just come in really quickly. What's going to happen after the JORC results? Do you have any plans to drill for gold after results?
Well, no, JORC is the start of a journey. I mean, we're not going to go and drill up 250 million tonnes and go, there we go, right? Or 200 million tonnes or 180 million tonnes. The plan is to build a maiden JORC resource.
Yeah.
Right? So the general view is, internally, we probably need another 10 or 15 RC holes, and we can give our maiden JORC resource. Now, whether that's going to be 30, 40, 50 or 100 million tonnes or 12 million tonnes, let's see what the drilling gives us. And we're going to end up with tonnes and grade and ounces drilled and calculated to JORC.
Yep.
Once you've got that, then you expand on your JORC resource. So It's a never-ending story. Once you've identified which way the mineralisation goes, is it expandable? Does the market give it flying toot? That the fact you might have found 2 million ounces or 2.5 million ounces of half-gram dirt. If the market likes it, you go and give them more. You go and drill more holes, and you make it bigger.
Yep. And
it's something that is a progressive thing that just gets bigger and bigger. Every gold mine has ever advancing JORC resource numbers.
It just keeps going, like you said.
Correct.
And bigger and bigger. Another one quickly coming in. How long will that cash that was raised last? How long will the cash raised? How long will that last, given the increase in drilling? What's your thoughts? What's your time frame?
What I like about drilling at Northern Zone's really cheap.
Why is that?
Because they drive the drillers drive in and out of Kalgoorlie every day. The last drilling program we did at Northern Zone came in under budget and under time. I mean, we were getting all in RC costs of about $80, all in air core costs of like $20.
Comparing,
we can do a lot of drilling and find a lot of ounces very cheaply. The question, and we've also got an R&D grant thingy in with the tax man, which should bring us a fair amount of cash into the system as well. So if it all sort of comes together, I think we've got enough money to come out with lots of news releases and see our way through Christmas, and still be not broke.
Yeah, excellent.
And I've already had an offer from somebody to buy one of my assets that we have. What price they want to pay for it, I don't know yet. But there's plenty of flexibility. But we will raise some money at some point in time, but not this. The shareholders fortuitously granted me 40 million options at 1 cent last week, and Ed me 20 million options at 1 cent. I'd like those options to be worth an absolute poultice worth of money.
Yeah.
So, it's a balancing game on when you raise funds, but when you do jobs like this, it's not about the salary. It's about the salary and the package.
Yeah.
And you know, you get this right, the package is worth a whole lot more than the salary.
Way more. That's for sure.
Correct.
All right. Well, David, it's been a pleasure. Obviously,
Great. Thanks, Harry.
I think there's a lot in the pipeline, and I think we'll be in touch. Any upcoming webinars, any announcements? Well, you know,
Well, there's lots of announcements. I mean, we're sort of primed for a couple of announcements a month.
All right. Well, I think shareholders should be very excited. I am. I'll be following very closely. But everyone here watching today, it is recorded, so you can jump on our YouTube channel, Sharewise, and just rewatch that and just regroup with a few things that have been mentioned. It will be on our website as well, sharewise.com.au. David will have access to it. I'm sure they'll put that on their socials as well.
Yeah.
Check their new website, which is going to be up and running, like he said. Check their presentation. There's probably a few things in there that he might have mentioned.
Well, the presentation was up today on an ASX release, and Harry, thanks for this. You know, it was supposed to be a normal webinar, but I'm not very good at talking to a PowerPoint. You know, flipping here's page 1, page 2. So I call this, Harry, a Weber view.
I like that. I can talk someone's ear off. So I'm glad it was you speaking.
All right, pleasure.
All right, everyone, enjoy and have a good afternoon. If anyone has any questions, jump on our website and fill out a speak to a share advisor form, and we'd be happy to have a chat. But enjoy, and we'll see you next time.
Great, thanks all.